Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is Imran from ACC. I'm very happy to be with you here today for this very special program we have, Silver Linings, Finding the Good in Any Situation, with our own and our beloved Shaykh Yasir Birjas. He's the Imam of VRIC, Valley Ranch Islamic Center. He's an advisor to A Continuous Charity. Also was a valedictorian of the Islamic University of Medina. Shaykh Yasir, how you doing?
Alhamdulillah, Amin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you doing?
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah, I can't complain. I'm indoors just like yourself.
Alhamdulillah,
Alhamdulillah.
Amin. Alhamdulillah. Trying to stay home, stay with the family as much as we can, inshallah.
So how have you been holding up personally?
So far, so good. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. I mean, to be honest with you, it's very interesting because I thought this is going to give me a break to, go over some of my personal project that I always wanted to do for myself and so on. But we're very busy, honestly, very, very busy taking care of the community, then try probably to find time for ourselves. And outside of the personal, taking care of ourselves personally, there isn't much time really. It's always online, like this program right now. SubhanAllah, the need for it is increasing right now. Obviously, people, they're not used to being in social distancing and social isolation. So now they're looking for answers. They're looking for ways to connect and reconnect with each other. And I believe personally that becomes our duty right now as imams, as community leaders. We need to be there for the people. That's our duty. That's our responsibility. And alhamdulillah, I'm very proud to try my best to be out there as much as we can.
May Allah bless you for everything that you're doing and everything that your organization is doing.
Ameen. And you too, Jami'an.
Ameen. So I'm assuming that in these conversations that you're having with the community, with people who reach out to you, that people are feeling overwhelmed, they're feeling stressed. And for some, there's this sense of negativity, pessimism, and people are feeling that things are ending. Would you agree with that?
As a lot of people, unfortunately, are going through these, moments and feelings. I think it's just because they're now getting out of their comfort zone. I mean, they've always been living a certain lifestyle, going out whenever they want to go out, stay up at night as long as they wanted to be. They eat whatever they want to eat. They consume as much as they want. No restriction, anything, subhanAllah. And all of a sudden now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us that lesson. That, hey, this ni'mah is not perpetual. It might disappear, might go away. So people right now, they're freaking out. And that reminds me with, which is very ironic, subhanAllah, the last portion from my tafsir class I do on Valley Ranch Islamic Center's Facebook page was tafsir Surah Al-Ma'arij. And that's before the outbreak and so on. So the last thing we talked about was the ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the nature of man. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ خُلِقَ هَلُوعًا إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا إِلَّا الْمُصَلِّينَ, which means insan was created in a state of anxiety, like it's always anxious. إِذَا مَسَّهُ الشَّرُّ جَزُوعًا, when afflicted by a calamity or difficulty, they freak out, they panic. وَإِذَا مَسَّهُ الْخَيْرُ مَنُوعًا, when they were given blessings, they become manu'a, which means they hold back. Why? Because they're afraid, even they're still anxious for losing it or to lose it, so they keep holding it back, subhanAllah. And I believe that's what's going on right now. People, they're used to, alhamdulillah, to the ni'am. Now suddenly that the ni'am are being taken away from them a little bit, people are now freaking out. So everybody who has something in their hand, they're holding it to themselves. So that increases their anxiety. And now all the gloom and doom scenarios are becoming more popular. People looking for a hadith in the end of time, scenarios, and no one wants to see the good that could come from these difficulties. But there is so much khair and so much good could come from this. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَسَى أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا فَعَسَى أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Perhaps you might dislike something, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put so much khair for you in there. And I believe there is always khair. There's always khair, alhamdulillah.
So before we go into the khair and the things which have the positive outcomes that have come out of this situation, I mean, would you say that this is a mindset that in terms of when these things happen, instead of looking for the negative straight away, how should we look at these situations? Should we look at them with a fixed approach, or should we be open to seeing how they turn out?
Well, here's the thing. Our ulama, Shaykh Yasir rahimahullah, speaking about evil in general, he goes, "Ash-sharru al-mahd adam." Absolute evil is inexistent. Doesn't exist. What does that mean? There is no such thing as completely pure evil. There is no such thing as completely pure evil. Actually, as a matter of fact, subhanAllah, as I'm speaking with you right now, it's interesting. I keep looking at the windows because it's raining and it's hailing right now. So hail is pouring down, subhanAllah, in the area where we're in right now.
Subhanallah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy and keep us all safe, Ya Rabbil Alameen.
Ameen.
So again, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, Ash-shar al-mahd adam. Absolute evil doesn't exist. What does that mean? In everything that we see, in everything Allah has created, there is always good. And many people, when things happen, what do they look for? They look to understand why me, why this, why that. So we always focus on the negative. But instead, as a believer, we should always try to see, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you might dislike something, and there'll be so much khair in it. What is the good in this situation? I want to look for that. And those are the people who really find peace and tranquility in their lives, and they keep moving forward. Otherwise, if we keep stuck in a moment in the past, we never move forward at all. Like if someone has always had this feeling of alhamdulillah being in a comfort zone, and now they become nostalgic. Every time something happens to them, they want to go back to that moment. You can't, because we're moving forward. And our duty right now is just to be prepared. So if anything happens, let's see what's good in it. There's so much khair and so much good can be found in these areas. No.
You know, when this first started happening, and before I go to the post that you shared, since I was a kid, I was always very concerned with pollution. I don't know why. Maybe I attribute it to my grandma, who used to always talk about living in the village, and the water would only run once a week. So you would go to the well, people would capture the water. You know, she would always say, be very conscious with how you use electricity. So when this started, I thought maybe this is a way for the earth to kind of reset. And then you shared, I'm going to share the post that you shared. So you shared this following post: coronavirus shutdowns have unintended climate benefits, cleaner air, cleaner water. And then I saw this map. NASA images show significant decreases in air pollution over China amid coronavirus economic slowdown. And you can see on the left-hand side, this is before the shutdown, and you see some pollution. And then you see after the shutdown, virtually little to no pollution. So can you expound on the message that you shared?
SubhanAllah, when I posted this first time, one of the sisters, she commented on it, and she goes, it's not unintended effect, it's actually intended effect. And SubhanAllah, that's a very profound statement. Why? Because Allah subhanahu designed this world to recalibrate all the time. As Allah subhanahu says, وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعَهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ أَلَّا تَطْغَوْا فِي الْمِيزَانِ. When he created the earth and he raised the heavens, then what did he do, subhanahu wa ta'ala? He established equilibrium, he established balance on this earth. And he says, أَلَّا تَطْغَوْا فِي الْمِيزَانِ. Beware not to mess up in that balance. And unfortunately, as humans, as we advance in life, subhanAllah, that's what we do to ourselves. We start over-consuming, we start, taking confidence in changing things and so on. Obviously, every effect has a counter effect. Every action has a counter action to this. So when you see what we do, we are bringing this against ourselves as well too. Like for example, keep digging for oil and gas and keep taking it out of the ground. What do you do there? You're going to create imbalance in certain, the power will shift, the pressure will shift here and there, and that creates what? Because many things, earthquakes, sinkholes, this and that, and many things happening on Earth right now. Also, the overconsumption of these animals, we messing up with the ecosystem.
Wow. And
the ecosystem obviously is very, very well delicately balanced, subhanAllah. Sometimes we think about certain creations, why they're made for anyway. There's no apparent, benefit for these creatures, but Allah subhanahu made it for a reason. Even the virus, it's a population control. Allah musta'an. When humans do all these crazy things, what happens? The earth starts bleeding. The earth starts bleeding because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعض الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. So Allah says that the corruption is becoming very popular, very, very open, very well seen and public on inland and in the sea. Where is this coming from? بما كسبت أيدي الناس, because of what the hand of man had earned, because of what we've done to ourselves. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says he's causing this to happen so that the people could reflect on this. لعلهم يرجعون. They might reflect. It could be said, they might reverse that. So when these things happen, as you can see, subhanAllah, extreme overconsumption and corruption in the heavens and the earth and the water and so on requires some extreme measure of emergency situation. This outbreak is a natural outcome. It's a very natural outcome. It's not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is punishing the people with that, but Allah Azza wa Jal created certain balance there. We mess up with the balance, we create these habits and these chaoses that we see today. So this probably going to continue until the balance is restored again one more time. So what we see on these pictures, subhanallah, is just a fraction of what could possibly be if we become more responsible for our life as Muslims. And today, interestingly, I was reading in the news that normal is going to become completely different after this event. Yeah, and what's considered normal is going to be completely something different. So the fact that people, they start behaving differently, maybe become more conscious of what they eat. And now here's the thing: a lot of people today now, they appreciate the meaning of a halal diet, right? Like suddenly now people, they say, oh, now we know why people, they have certain rules and guidelines for what they eat, what they cannot eat. I mean, back in the day, it was more like luxury thing. People, they take diet to lose weight, to just to be in shape, or maybe grow muscles and so on and so. And now people, they realize that is a human instinct. It's something we had to be all aware of, because it's very important. So people to see the value of eating halal, the dhabiha meat and all that stuff, suddenly it has a whole different perception and right now, and a whole different understanding.
We spoke about the balance in nature. You also brought up the animals, the diet, and that's a nice segue to the second topic. But before we go to it, it's very interesting because I had a chiropractor who's also a board certified or clinically certified nutritionist, and he's trained doctors in nutrition for over 30 years. He trains medical students, PhD students. In the 90s, he worked in the AIDS and HIV clinics. So his entire field of expertise is like the immune systems. So he was basically saying that we have to keep our immune systems boosted, not to say that we can eradicate COVID-19, but to keep healthy so you can help in resisting COVID-19. And then if you go to like the precautions, right? The right things that you're supposed to eat, the things that you're supposed to avoid, not eating all the time, giving your body some break, periods where you don't eat. And then you see like now everything is the balance for the nature, balance for the way we farm our food, right? We just stuff all the animals into the pens, and we ruin the environment, ruin the animals, and ruin our health. So I guess it's a good segue to the second topic, which is the personal hygiene. I'm sorry I had to use such a crude picture, but when I saw it, I thought, what a perfect picture to use. So what have you seen in terms of personal hygiene?
Well, honestly, it's very funny right now, because I think if you try to find one of these devices, online, good luck with that. Everybody suddenly, they found out that this is the way it should be. And the fact that people freaking out because they lost all the toilet paper, there's nothing much of what we're going to do right now. And I was at subhanAllah on the app next door, where you check on your neighbors in the area and so forth. Every now and then someone pops out saying, hey guys, do you know where I can get this? I'm running low on this, learning this. SubhanAllah, it's just like, wow, people look, it is becoming a serious matter. Suddenly people now understand what does it mean to have personal hygiene. And it's a very serious business as well too. It's so funny, even to the extent that when one of the so-called celebrities go online and teaches people what they should do when it comes to washing their hands, like right now, just even watching, subhanAllah, some of these videos about one of the so-called celebrities, with his little girl washing hands and singing and teaching them how to wash hands. It was a big deal and making millions of views on this video. We call this, and the Prophet ﷺ called this for us, Sunan al-Fitra, like the natural practice of a human being, to be clean, to groom yourself very well, to shave, under the pubic area and under the arms and this and that and so on. All these things are natural things, subhanAllah. So right now, people observe and realize the reason why this needs to be observed, because again, it's a health issue, it's prevention issue, protecting ourselves from diseases, subhanAllah. Salman al-Farisi radiallahu anhu, one time he was approached by a man who was not Muslim, and he's the companion, Salman al-Farisi, and he was told, your prophet taught you everything, hatta al-khira'a. With basically a crude word, like it says, he taught you everything, even how to use the bathroom. And Salman, he said absolutely proudly, he said, yes, indeed, he did. And he taught us that when we do so, we use the left hand, you don't use the right hand, you do this, you do that. So he basically gave us the etiquette of how to use the bathroom. This is something now people are observing, and now suddenly they're discovering to be something of a big deal, right? Alhamdulillah, for the Muslims now, they appreciate the reason why you need to take shower regularly. You need to wash your hands and your feet on a regular basis. You need to even rinse your mouth and blow your nose on a regular basis, which we do wudu.
Right.
All of this right now, people realize, okay, now we understand how serious, how important that is. SubhanAllah, that teaches us Muslims that Islam is indeed not just a religion, it's also a way of life. Like it teaches you how to live your life normally as a Muslim or as a human being. Why so? Because Allah says in the Quran, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Shouldn't he know best, since he was the one who created, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he was the one who knows everything about us. So when he sent us these instructions, this is like a manual for life, really. It's a manual for life. When you wake up, what do you do? When you, even in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when you wake up from your sleep, before even you start making your tahara, your ablution, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make sure you don't put your hand in the water. Instead, pour the water on your hand, wash it 3 times first, and then you can start, taking some to make your wudu. Why is this? Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave it in the most obvious way. He goes, because you don't know where your hand was when you're in your sleep, which means the possibilities be carrying germs, dirt, filth, whatever that is. You know what? You need to be protected. To this basic instruction, alhamdulillah, our deen has been teaching us all that stuff, which is now people are now realizing and showing all these videos, giving all the medical justification for it and so on, although it was supposed to be fitrah, just natural thing for human beings, subhanAllah.
What's interesting is that we're going to concentrate on the positive, but there have been some examples of people hoarding toilet paper, hoarding masks, soap and whatnot. But one thing that I'm finding amazing in this time is that people are also finding excuses to be helpful, to connect with their neighbors, to help out in their local communities. Some stores have opened up specific hours for the elderly and people who need help. So I found this this news clip in here locally in Chicago. Muslim Youth Group offers grocery delivery to areas elderly during coronavirus pandemic. And this was highlighting the Muslim Community Center of Chicago. They are doing some phenomenal work. We're going to have them on next Thursday. So in that light, what are you observing and seeing in terms of now people starting to reconnect?
MashaAllah, subhanAllah. I mean, honestly, it is, I think, in the culture of radical individualism and extreme individualism in our society, also fueled and even like on steroid because of the social media and the me culture and self-centered culture. This whole concept of community is kind of almost eradicated from our society. So the erosion taken away from it, subhanAllah, slowly and gradually. Even though it is sad to say that it took the whole world, coronavirus, to come and bring them back together in that sense. The idea to tell them to stay 6 feet again away from each other is freaking them out. Now they realize, you know what, I need people. Those who've always, been keyboard celebrities, all of a sudden right now they're having all these videos breaking down because it's just like there's isolation for them. All of a sudden they realize they needed the people, subhanAllah. So that's the sad part of it. Alhamdulillah, the good part of it and the positive part of it is that people right now, like you said, they're looking for avenues and ways to help other people. And I've seen also on for example, on Nextdoor, when someone was posting their low on toilet paper, and they have 2 kids, a single mom and so on. It's very interesting, subhanAllah, that the community, the entire community in the neighborhood, everybody starts pitching again, basically, hey, I have this, I have that, let me know, give me this, give me that, subhanAllah. Everybody was kind of like trying to be helpful in this regard. And that's so sweet and so beautiful. Alhamdulillah, the Muslim community has also been very active in this many years, not just recently. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, there are a lot of organizations going out there. And I want to really give a shout out here to one national and one local for us. The national community is ICNA Relief. ICNA Relief has been doing a phenomenal job, really, mashallah. They have Mercy on Wheels. They have these donation boxes that goes to different places. They give food. They give assistance. Even they help people to run errands, mashallah. They're doing a great job for the community. Another local community for us here in the Dallas area is Ma'ruf. Ma'ruf Dallas, Jazakumullah Khair, they do the same thing. They're looking for people to help. And recently, subhanAllah, since the situation started and the rate of employment is increasing, a lot of people are applying. But alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, there's also a lot of good hearts and people are looking for opportunities. I just received a couple messages before even we started the broadcast from people saying, I have this zakah money, I want to give it to this place and that place, or this organization, that organization. Can I do that? Alhamdulillah, people right now are actually realizing how serious that is, and they're trying to reach out to their people in the community. So this is something good to look into, inshallah. And I hope, bidnillah azza wa jal, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to go through this crisis, that the spirit will continue to exist, inshallah. بإذن الله عز وجل.
It's interesting because, again, on the positive, people are becoming more helpful in general, but one community that has been neglected are the elderly.
Yep.
And there's been a resurgence now also in concentrating on the elderly, highlighting their plate. There's been so many pictures where you see them standing in the store in the aftermath when there's nothing left. So people have become more conscious in terms of even helping the elderly. And obviously we know this is part of our way of life. We're supposed to be merciful to our elders.
Absolutely. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم says in the hadith, ليس منا من لم يعرف شرف كبيرنا ويرحم صغيرنا. You're not a true believer if you don't recognize the honor of the elders and have mercy on the younger one. And that is the time really to show that. Because like you said, when people go into these stores, they just lose their minds, Allah musta'an. By the time the elders can reach to that aisle or get to that stuff, there's nothing left for them. In addition to that, they are the most vulnerable right now. So therefore, if they go out, they risk their lives, really. They literally risk their lives just to go and get some basic groceries or some basic needs for themselves and at home. So that's another call for all of us, inshallah. If anyone knows any neighbors in the area, any friends, family, just neighbors around you who are in that age group, please make sure to reach out to them. Call them. They might be terrified. Wallahi, some of them might be extremely terrified. Even to make a call or even discuss with someone. So I don't know what the situation is. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we have neighbors in the area over here. Every now and then we check on them. So I send a text message, call, and I say, hey guys, are you doing fine? Doing well? If you need any help, let me know. Although they can still drive and go out, but subhanAllah, you never know. So some people might start getting panicky when Riyadh is coming close to home. And at some point, they might not be able to go out. So please make sure to continue to check on them, inshallah. That's important for everybody.
You mentioned something in the beginning. I think you were referencing something that you read in the news, that whatever is going to be normal in the future is going to be the new normal. Things are going to change. And while it's going to change in some ways for the negative, I think one way is personally it's going to change for the positive is that people are going to realize what technology allows you to do, right? So working remotely, collaborating, and then we're going to see now innovation happening in education, in working from remotely. So you shared this post about saying, all praises be to God for the gift of technology during this difficult time. And obviously a lot of people are using Zoom or Google Hangouts or WebEx, whatever it may be, to connect to their family, to connect to the local communities. So let's expound on this in terms of what, like, for example, imagine if we lived during this situation at the time of the Spanish flu or even 50 years ago, but now we're living at it in 2020. I'm able to speak to you. You're able to speak to me. We can share our screen. We can add more people to the screen. So what do you have to say about that?
SubhanAllah, if this situation, if the coronavirus happened, like you said, when the circumstances are like back in 1918, probably only Allah knows what could happen to us. I mean, back then the population was a fraction of what it is today, probably. Not as much as we have today. And with the technology we have today, it's very dangerous when things move around so fast and so quickly. But the fact that people, they had to stay in social isolation, it's gonna probably, if they're not gonna die because of corona, many probably gonna commit suicide, unfortunately. And that is gonna be seriously damaging, and seriously hurtful to many people. Alhamdulillah, Rabbi, with this technology right now, we are able to reach out to people. And people, alhamdulillah, appreciate the fact that they can still benefit even though they're at home. I know that there was a time when having online education was not the most favorable to people. Why? Because they want to have the personal experience. They want to be there in the classroom and do this and do that. And a lot of people, of course, they prefer that kind of like a classroom style. But now we come to realize even this, alhamdulillah, can still be beneficial for Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And it is beneficial, alhamdulillah. So I can tell you that right now our reach to bigger audience is better. And I hope, inshallah, that with the expansion of all of this, it can become a good source of da'wah bidnillah azza wa jal, for bringing people to Islam, inshallah, and also keeping some of these Muslims on Islam bidnillah azza wa jal, and reviving the spirit of Islam into their lives. So nowadays we have, mashallah, we have Quran halaqas online, we have khataras going online, we have a personal interaction, like you said, on Zoom and other outlets and platforms and so on. We even have just recently we did one of our community iftar online, where we invited everybody to come and break their fast together. So everybody fasted on Monday, alhamdulillah, and we came to break our fast together with a dua and so on. And then we heard the adhan, and it was so emotional because people said, "Wow, subhanAllah, I haven't heard the adhan for a very, very long time." And now we hear the adhan live from one of the brothers who was calling the adhan on that call, alhamdulillah. And mashallah, to show you how much people were eager to be part of this. Since we had the capacity was at 100 at the time when we started the call, it was overwhelming. I mean, the moment we started the session, the 100 just like boom, just taken right away. You talk about 100 households, and each camera probably would have maybe a few people from the household and the family, and breaking fast together. Alhamdulillah, it was a beautiful experience. And that's one of the khair that we get from that. And I would like to give my brothers and sisters an advice. Since alhamdulillah you're staying at home, there's plenty of time. You could use your time wisely, inshallah. Make sure to look around online. What are these opportunities? What are regular classes, regular programs, regular spiritual activities, or whatever that is? Put it on your calendar and start benefiting from that. Wallahi, that's a golden opportunity, because the moment you leave the house, the moment this is over and we go out back to our normal life, chances to have this opportunity to sit down and listen and learn and take notes and so forth, it's not going to be the same, because now you have other things to do outside of the house.
That's one thing I've been urging a lot of my friends, is that right now we're given like a golden ticket, right? If there's something that we wanted to study, something that we wanted to revise, if there's a future skill that we wanted to learn, this is the perfect time. And the reality is the job market is going to change because of this virus and because of anticipated viruses, anticipated pandemics. We have to get more comfortable with technology, irregardless if we're marketers, people who practice medicine, or if we're teachers. So I think this is the golden time for people to attend webinars, workshops. I'm going to give you the final closing words, but what I'm going to say is that I know VRIC is doing, like you said, the halakas and the khatiras live. ACC, we're doing these webinars about 2 to 3 times a week. Next Tuesday, we're going to have Brother Chris from Launchgood discussing some new initiatives that we're launching. We're doing our mentorship, our continuing education, our traditional loans. So I'll leave it to you to close us out and give us any more advice.
Well, subhanAllah, like we said about the use of technology, here's the thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you're grateful to me, I'll increase my blessings upon you. This is now what we need to start focusing on right now. We need to start focusing on being grateful. A lot of people today, when they go through difficulties, they don't focus on the blessings. Instead, they focus on what they lost. And when they start focusing too much on what they lost, eventually it gives a sour, taste in their mouths and in their hearts as well too. And that's when they start going back again to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a negative way. So instead of humbling themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and bringing themselves down to that level and ask Allah for protection, for help, and for assistance, they start becoming so arrogant and blaming Allah for all the things that they lost in their lives. This is not the time to start being negative. This is the time to start looking for the khair, alhamdulillah rabbil. What do we look for? We look for the blessings. Count your blessings. Yes, the situation is difficult. It's hard. Everybody's going through this. It's not just you. So that's one thing to think about. Alhamdulillah, it's not just me then. We are into this right now. Okay, so what do? Let me get the best out of it, inshallah. What can I find? You need to sit down and start counting your blessings. No matter what you try, you will never be able to count these blessings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. Even if you try to enumerate and count all the blessings of Allah, you will never be able to count them. It means there's so many, subhanAllah, we couldn't even think of where to start. But it's the time right now. Instead of whining about what I lost, I need to start thinking, okay, what do I have today? Alhamdulillah, I'm still at home. I have a roof, alhamdulillah, over my head. I have protection. I have my health. I have my family around me. You know what? I have, alhamdulillah, access to this technology. I can even see you and talk to you right now. There's so much we can be grateful for. There's so much we can be grateful for. So this is the time that people need to start, not looking too far, looking too close. The ordinary things. And be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and making sure that this gratitude is shown and is known. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. As for the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which He bestows upon you, speak about them. Which means remind other people. Show them that you're grateful. You can say, Alhamdulillah, we're good. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We have everything we need, alhamdulillah. Being so grateful makes you feel content, alhamdulillah. And part of this is just that's kind of like going around, because when you're grateful, you're happier, you're more confident, and you can share that khair with other people, inshallah. And finally, I want to make really a special shout out to our brothers and sisters who work in the front line, really, the healthcare workers in the health field. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and bless their families and take care of them, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep them safe, keep them protected, and rid the world from this virus and from this disease, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward them Jannat al-Firdaus al-A'la, protection in the dunya and Jannah in the akhirah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give healing and quick recovery for those who are ill, and keep us all safe, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakallah khair, barakallah feekum.
Wa fika barak, Shaykh. And to those who are working at UPS and Amazon and the restaurants and everybody, inshallah.
The list is very, very long, subhanAllah. These are people we appreciate what they do. Sometimes we see them completely invisible in our lives, but certainly they are now the real heroes that we need to look into it. Something I remember before even we close it completely. I was just reading on the news that recently there have been some contracts about certain players and certain celebrities, and they're getting 100 million, in the contract or this and that. And I just start kind of like, subhanAllah, look at this right now. Look at this. These people are being paid just to play, right? And our doctors, our nurses, our delivery guys, and so forth, they're putting themselves there on the line, and unfortunately for the fraction of what these people are receiving. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us see the truth and follow it, and hopefully recalibrate. Hopefully recalibrate and realize where this money, our attention should be at part of the khair that comes from this. Inshallah, we start focusing on that which is best for humanity. Wallah.
Shaykh, if people want to listen to the talks that you give live or recorded, where can they see your talks?
They can go to my personal Facebook page, Yasir Birjas, or they can go to Valley Ranch Islamic Center Facebook page as well. It's over there, inshallah. Wallah.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. May the Most High reward you, your family, your community with the best of goodness.
Barakallah,
and for our listeners, please attend our webinars. Inshallah, we're trying our best to help in any way that we can. ACC does give student loans so students can pursue their higher educational dreams, and we give interest-free loans, so you never have to pay us more than what you take. But in this time, we're trying to give continuing education opportunities for free through these webinars. If you're interested in having a mentor in higher education, please reach out to us. And also next week on Tuesday, we're going to be launching a very unique program for our students and their close loved ones. So please stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair. Stay safe, all of you.
Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.